Good morning. All right. Welcome, everyone. It's Southwestern Week. Woo! That's right. Let's get some energy going here. It's wonderful to see everyone back. I don't know if you can feel it, but I can feel the energy and the excitement of the fall semester. You know, we have that special feeling as a college campus that you just don't have like at IBM or other places. So let's relish it and enjoy this time together, this week together, and the kickoff of a wonderful new semester. To kick off today's event, our August Assembly, you will be officially welcomed by our president, Dr. Michelle R. Johnston. But before I call her to the stage or invite her up here, I think it's important that we recognize this special moment for her and for GSW. I don't know if you know this or not, but Dr. Johnston is the first female president for GSW. And I haven't done the work of researching it yet, but there can't be very many universities in our union that have an African American female provost and vice president and a female president. So we may be setting records, if not for the state, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, pretty awesome. We pledge to lead you to the best of our abilities. So just a little bit more about Dr. Johnston. She previously served as the president of the College of Coastal Georgia, and where she excelled. I got to know her before I even came here because she allowed leaders in the system-wide Executive Leadership Institute to shadow her and to let us get a glimpse of what life is like as a college president. And so she has been mentoring and guiding leaders for a long time. And some of you may have heard, because I know we do our investigating when we find out who our next president is, that she was beloved on their campus, and they were not happy that we stole her from them. But you know, we are gaining, their loss is absolutely our gain. We're gaining a tremendous leader, and many of you have already witnessed her presence and her leadership qualities already from her joining our campus when she was officially appointed by the Board of Regents on June 1st. So she's a proven leader. She's got over 25 years of experience leading institutions, and so I want to welcome her. But for those of you who don't know, her home college is Arts and Sciences. She holds a degree in piano. Oh yes, okay. She holds a degree in piano performance from the University of Alabama, and she has a PhD in educational leadership from Mississippi State University, and she's also got a postdoctorate in marketing and management. I love it, from the University of Florida. So we have a multifaceted, multi-talented, amazing leader, and please join me in giving her the best welcome we can to Southwestern Week, August Assembly, and GSW.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Dr. Drake, for that special way that you energize us and for that special introduction. And I want to thank all of you for the super warm Georgia Southwestern welcome that I have experienced here during the summer. I'm so happy to be here, and I think about what Dr. Drake said. How fortunate are we to be on a university campus, that we get to experience the anticipation, the hope, the renewed energy that comes at the start of every fall semester. Super exciting all the time. And I'm really excited also to be a part of a community that cares for each other. Like, you like each other. We like each other. And that makes it a great place to be. I've had an opportunity to meet many of you, but I know I have a long way to go. I want to ask the division leaders to go ahead and start coming up, because today we're going to start with the introductions of new faculty and staff who have joined us since last August. So let's get that started.
First, we will discuss our new faculty and staff in the Division of Academic Affairs. The College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Education, the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, as well as the Registrar's Office, have new members that have joined our Canes community. The deans will introduce the new faculty in their areas.
Good morning. The College of Arts and Sciences is excited to announce 9 new faculty and staff positions for the upcoming year. In the Department of Biology, we have Dr. Kaylin Scanlon-Richardson. Dr. Scanlon-Richardson comes to us from the University of Central Florida, where she earned her PhD in biomedical sciences. She started at GSW in the spring of 2024. In the area of communication, we have Dr. Annie Lori Nichols. Dr. Nichols comes to us from St. Vincent College, where they served as Assistant Professor of Communication. Dr. Nichols earned their PhD in Communication from the University of Maryland, specializing in rhetoric and political culture. Next we have Dr. Elizabeth Schiller. Dr. Schiller comes to us from Ohio University, where she earned her PhD in Communication Studies. Her research interest includes fandom and parasocial relationships. In the Department of English and Modern Languages, we have Penny Durman. Ms. Durman comes to us from Andrew College, where she served as Associate Professor of English. She holds the MFA in Creative Writing from Georgia College and State University. Next, we have Erica Hill. Ms. Hill is the new Administrative Assistant in the Department of English and Modern Languages and has served in that role for almost a year. In the area of music, we have Leonard Martin. Mr. Martin comes to us from Atlanta, where he has served as a professional pianist for numerous years. He holds the BA in music with an emphasis in percussion and piano performance from Georgia Southwestern State University, and the Master of Music in Piano Pedagogy from Georgia State University. In the Department of Mathematics, we have Jeff Swords. Mr. Swords comes to us from Andrew College, where he served as Assistant Professor of Mathematics. Mr. Swords holds a Master of Science in Mathematical Science from the University of West Florida and the Master of Science in Business Management from Troy State University. In the Department of Psychology and Sociology, we have Dr. Judy Orton-Grissett. Dr. Orton-Grissett comes to us from GSW. Welcome back. I like to think of Judy as just being on a very long vacation. While she was at GSW, she served as Professor of Psychology, Director of the Center for Teaching and Learning, and Director of Experiential Learning. She holds a PhD in Educational Psychology from Georgia State University. Next we have Youngwon Cho. Dr. Cho comes to us from the University of California, Irvine, where he earned a Master of Arts in Social Ecology and a PhD in Developmental Psychology. He also holds a Master of Arts in General Psychology from New York University. And now I'd like to welcome to the mic the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Rachel Abbott.
All right, good morning. First, I would like to introduce Christy Kendrick. She comes to us from Taylor County Schools, where she spent the past 16 years. She is our new administrative assistant in our clinical and field office. Next, I have Dr. Nicole McLemore. She is a new assistant professor. She has been teaching for 8 years, most recently in Peach County, and she will be in our elementary education program. And next, I have Morgan Whaley, who also comes to us from GSW. We are super excited. Morgan recently finished her master's degree in the College of Education, and so she is transitioning to a lecturer position. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Teasley, Interim Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and we are pleased to welcome 3 new faculty with us. We have Miss Olivia Bivens, who will be teaching in the BSN program. She earned her MSN and her BSN from GSW and her Bachelor of Science in Public Health from Georgia College and State University. She brings to us experience in medical, surgical, critical care, and emergency department nursing. Next, we have Ms. Paige Long. She will be teaching in the ASN program in the School of Nursing. She earned her MSN and RN to BSN from GSW, her ASN from Darton College, and she brings a wealth of experience to us as a critical care nurse and teaching in an ASN program. And next we have Dr. Shanson Shaw, who will be teaching in the exercise science program. He earned his PhD in exercise and sport from East Tennessee State University, his MS in physical education and coaching at Emporia State University, his BS in exercise and sport training from Leon Normal University, and he comes to us from Lebanon Valley College in Annville, Pennsylvania. We're happy to have these three additions to the College of Nursing and Health Sciences.
I also have the pleasure of welcoming back to GSW John Wilson. He has taken the role of Director of Library Services. John, we're glad to have you back.
We are happy to welcome Angela Jenkins, although not new to the college. She's our new assistant registrar. So reach out to her if you have any questions. And we are pleased to have Erin Chapman. She's our new student records and transfer coordinator. She works with our VA students. She comes from Lewisburg, North Carolina, from Lewisburg College. We're very excited to have her with us as well.
Hello, I'm Gay Hayes, and I'm the Interim Vice President for Student Engagement, and we have many new faces in our division, and I want to introduce them to you now. First, we have Alex Espethia, who is the Executive Assistant to the Vice President. You may recognize Alex. He was up here last year as our Student Government President, and we are just pleased to have him as a full-time professional staff member. Ebony Guidry. Ebony is our Assistant Director of Campus Life. She comes to us from, most recently, Georgia Tech. She's been at Florida State, but her undergraduate's at Fort Valley, and she's just joining us back in South Georgia. Lorenzo Johnson, our Assistant Director of Residence Life. Lorenzo also has a degree from Fort Valley, but has most recently been part of our campus police force, so we're happy to have him in the student engagement area. Marley MacArthur, Academic and Student Success Coordinator. Marley is a product of GSW. Keena Davis, University College and Student Success Coordinator, also a GSW graduate. Caroline Franklin, Academic Resource Coordinator. Welcome, Caroline. Katie Green, a Financial Aid at Counselor. Peyton Johnson, a new Admissions Counselor. And Brittany McKenzie, our CRM and Communication Administrator, was in FYE last year, moving back to admissions. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the team. We look forward to working with you.
Good morning. We have three new hires in the Division of Business and Finance this year. In Human Resources, we have Madison Wilson, HR Specialist. In Physical Plant, Joseph Castonia, our Assistant Director. And in Public Safety, Courtney C., a Public Safety Officer. I don't know if she's in here today. All right.
I want to introduce the latest addition to the IT department, Lance Allday. Lance graduated in 2019 from GSW with his bachelor's degree in computer science and previously worked in university relations as a web developer. Welcome, Lance.
Good morning. I first want to thank Madison. I know she's new, but she was a tremendous help this year in helping us. We had to do a lot of competitive searches in a short period of time. So Madison and Jennifer in HR, I certainly appreciate all your help that you gave helping us get through these searches. For athletics, women's basketball head coach Missy Tiber comes to us from the University of North Alabama. Jacob Crawford is the head women's soccer coach. He comes from the University of West Georgia. Trey Andrews Bryant, the head women's tennis coach, comes to us from Cape Fear Community College in North Carolina. We have Emma Johansson. Emma is our head softball coach. She comes from Cameron University. Danny Z will be heading men's and women's cross country. He's been a math instructor here for going on 6 years, so we certainly appreciate Danny filling in and helping us with cross country. Xavier Jackson, assistant women's basketball coach, also comes from the University of North Alabama. Trey Chapman, our assistant baseball coach and grounds coordinator, comes from Lewisburg College in North Carolina. Robin Bales, assistant softball coach from Cameron University as well. Jordan Barrett, assistant baseball coach, comes to us from Florida Southern College. And finally, Nate Getman, who's the men's soccer assistant. Nate's been with us since last September, so he's been here going on his second year. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my list is not as long as Coach Leader's. But I'm happy to introduce our new person in our web department, Crystal Morris. Crystal should be a very familiar face for all of you. She spent the last 2 years working in IIT, and she was a network technician, and she is a Georgia Southwestern graduate, class of 22, in IT with a concentration in business, and she spent some time as a student worker on campus as well. But we're really happy to have Crystal, who is replacing Haley Henderson, who left us earlier this year, so thank you.
Thank you for all those great introductions. And I want to get from behind the podium and get a little closer to you. And thank y'all for humoring me. Many of you were very settled in seats toward the back, and you were nice enough to move up. And also, I know that some of you may typically sit in the arena seating, and I really appreciate you coming down so that we can all be together here today on the floor of the Storm Dome. So, do you remember your first time on campus? Can you remember that first time that you drove onto the campus? We have a lot of new employees that's been pretty recent. But some of us, that was many years ago. Do you remember what you thought and what you felt in that time? Awe. That's the feeling that I had when Jean and I drove onto the campus in June. It was awe. It was reverence for the incredible history and the legacy of an institution that dates back to 1906. It was admiration for the sustained commitment to excellence and to student success, and the excitement for the opportunities that we have in front of us to make deeper and broader impacts. I am honored to join the Georgia Southwestern family. Thank you so much. So Jean and I traveled through the Atlanta airport a few weeks ago, and we were literally head to toe dressed in Georgia Southwestern. You could not miss us. And during that time, we had 3 people that stopped us. And we weren't there very long. It was a quick connection. One was a special friend and a donor of Georgia Southwestern that I hadn't met. And he just walked up, he saw us, and he handed me his card, and he didn't say much, he just said, "Tell Stephen I said hello." And I was texting Stephen, who is it? He was gone before I could ask him. The other one was a mom with a teenage daughter. And the mom came up and she said, "Where is GSW?" So it gave me an opportunity to talk about where is Georgia Southwestern, and not just location, but where we are and what we do. And I had to do it quick. The other one was a man who walked up to me. Gene had walked away, and he said, "Where can I get a shirt like that?" Like, we can set you up. So I want to say thank you to our advancement team for putting the pins in every seat. If you're in a seat that didn't have a pin, there are seats that have them. So before you leave, make sure you get one, because I hope you'll wear it and wear it with pride. And also, when you're traveling, wear those GSW shirts and gear, and people will talk to you, and it's a magnet. People want to know. And it's a wonderful way for us to share all the great things that we have here at Georgia Southwestern. During the presidential plaza dedication ceremony in 2017, I found where, thanks to Chelsea helping me, where Jimmy Carter said, "I'm very proud of the progress that continues to be made here at my favorite college." So I love that quote, because together we share a special responsibility to keep those wheels of progress that he was talking about, to keep those turning, and to accelerate the momentum that's been building, but also to make sure that this is a favorite college for many, many more people. You've achieved some great things. The highest percentage increase in enrollment in the university system for the fall of 23 and the spring of 24. Y'all know that. I know you've celebrated that. I know you have felt it. We had the largest summer enrollment in the history of the university this summer. I know you saw that and felt that as well, whether it was in your classes, on campus, you felt that. And we continue to lead the USG with over 84% of our graduates who stay in Georgia for their careers after they graduate. So we're leading in so many of these fronts. And I believe this unprecedented success that we are having has been achieved because students know that they can go anywhere and they can do anything with a Georgia Southwestern degree. So whether they're pursuing an undergraduate degree, or they're in one of our graduate programs, or maybe they're working on a specialized certificate with us, we are providing for them transformational education. Transformational education. We know that many of our students are first-generation college students. They're the first in their families to go to college. Many of us were the first in our families to go to college or to graduate, to finish a degree, right? A lot of us know what that means. And what we know is that that transformational education is not just about changing that student's life and all of those students' lives. It's about changing the trajectory of families for generations. That's what we do. If that doesn't give you chills, and if it also doesn't give you a feeling of like a huge, important responsibility, this is probably not the place where you need to be, right? Because that's what we do every day. We know that our students come from this region. Many of our students come from really close to this university campus. But we have students that come from every corner of the state. I know they're coming from all over the U.S., all over the world. But they're coming here, and they're coming here for that transformational experience, quite honestly, whether they know it or not. They might not know it when they first get here, but we sure make certain that they know that by the time that they leave, and that they're ready to do anything and go anywhere. So I've had a lot of you email me or come up and talk to me if we've had the chance to meet and say, hey, tell us a little bit about you. And I'll be honest, the last thing I like to talk about is myself. Like, I'd rather do anything else. But I will share some things on a personal note. Just, it's part of getting to know each other and building relationships. And I want to hear about you as well. I grew up in a small town, a small college town. We had a little family farm, lived outside of town. We had livestock, and I was part of 4-H, and I showed lambs. And probably one of the greatest achievements in my life is when I got that grand champion lamb at the state fair. I will never forget that. But from a very early age, I wanted to teach. I always thought I wanted to be a teacher. And I kept that passion. But I also started studying music, and that took me down to a path to be a performer. And I was able to marry those two, bring those passions together as a teacher and a musician, and I became a music professor. And that's how I started my career. And fast forward 30 years later, I think my bio says 25. You know how you kind of want to freeze yourself? I'm like, that bio's frozen. We're just not going to keep adding years, but honestly, it's 30 years, a little over 30 years. And during that time, I've just, again and again, every year, think there's no better place to be than a college campus. And I am with 300 people here today who feel that same way, because you're here and you're committed, and I thank you so much for that commitment. A little bit about my core principles, like what things are important to me, because I'm learning about a lot of the things that are important to you individually and are really important and core to this university. For me, everything is built around relationships. It's people. We don't do anything. We don't have this beautiful storm dome, these incredible facilities on campus, these programs that we offer. We don't do any of those things without people. That is the heart of what we do. And to me, those people, central to every day, need to have a sense of excellence and commitment to rigor, because we know that helps our students be as prepared as they possibly can be if we have those commitments. So excellence, rigor, and high standards. We expect a lot of each other. I expect a lot of you. I want you to expect a lot of me. I want us to expect a lot of our students. So expectations and keeping the bar high. But also that we are mindful and we are in the moment. Some of you may have heard, this is something I've shared for a long time through my career, of a every student, every time mindset. Because being in the moment, being there to take care of the needs and challenge students in the right ways and the right times, but being in the moment and serving every student every time is really important and central to my mindset. And also for me, communication and transparency is very important. It's something that I've been talking a lot about over the last 2 months, and about the importance of that for all of us. And I want you to know how committed I am to improving communications where it always needs improvement. And we're going to work on that. And also being transparent so you know why are we making the decisions, what's going on to the decisions, how can I be involved in that? And that's been important to me. And I think it's just a very basic part of good leadership. And so those are prioritized. So we can't do our best work if we don't have great people. And I'm looking at a bunch of those right here today. I know how incredibly important it is to support you, to support faculty and staff, and to reward excellence, and make sure you have the tools you need, and make sure you have the resources you need. And that's a really important part of my job, is to make sure you have the resources and you have the support. I believe in, again, communication and shared governance. And I know that the importance of the Faculty Senate, the Staff Senate, our Student Government Association, all of us working together. That's why I wanted to have the members of the leadership team, the senior leadership team here on the stage as we were calling out those names, because we're a team. And I want to make sure we're all seeing each other as a team. And we take care of each other, and we back each other up, and we give each other the benefit of the doubt. and we work together in every way we can to support our students. Another thing about me is I ask a lot of questions, so I'm sorry ahead of time. But I do ask a lot of questions, and I love to learn. So what better place to be than a university campus? I always know that I am not the smartest person in the room, but I love to be around the smartest people in the room. I believe that empathy, kindness, honesty, and trustworthiness are incredibly important for leadership. But I mean, those are important for life. So I hope I've given you a little bit of a sense of what I care about, what's important, what I live with every day, and how excited I am to work with you because we have such a shared mission and such a shared responsibility. I'm so excited about that. So I've also been asked, well, what's your vision? What's your vision for Georgia Southwestern? I don't have one yet. I don't have one yet. I'm listening, I'm learning, and I think it would be very irresponsible for me to come in with people here that have invested lives, careers. You've chosen to be here, even if you're new like me. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that, and together we need to chart that vision. Now, I have some ideas. I've seen some things, but you have ideas too. I think there are so many opportunities for us. One of the things that I want us to do together is I really want us to look at our strategic plan. Now, some of you, when those two words come out, whew, like, oh, she didn't say strategic plan. But I did because if it's done well and we're all involved in it, it's phenomenal, it's awesome. It gives us all the things that we need to make decisions, because when we talk about why are these decisions being made, I don't even know why that's happening. We should be able to turn back to that strategic plan because that's our guiding light. So we have a strategic plan. I don't want to gloss over the fact that we have one, but I want us together to look at it. Is it where we want it? Does it say what we want to do? And does it give us those marching orders? So that's something I want us to talk about. And one of the things we're missing that will align with a really good strategic plan is a facilities master plan. Like, look at this campus. It is gorgeous. We have incredible buildings. We've invested in renovations. We have projects going on right now. That's exciting, but we need a master plan so that as we're thinking about these needs and these things we want to do with the strategic plan, where do we need to invest in buildings and projects and equipment and all of those kinds of things? So a facilities master plan is something that we haven't had. We don't have one right now, and we need one. So that's something that I want to do. And all of that work talking about the strategic plan and the master plan will help us articulate that vision. So if you came here thinking today I was going to roll out this elaborate vision, I'm sorry you're going to leave without that in hand. But I just want you to know why I don't have that right now. Because I'm learning, and we're going to work on that together. So because I'm listening and learning, I haven't made a lot of quick changes. I'm going to check my time here. We're doing good. I want to make sure that Dr. Dahlgren has enough time to really talk about the QEP. So I'm going to share with you some of the quick changes or early changes that have come about. One of the things I learned about is the work that you had done primarily in the late fall and the spring semester. And that was related to the reorganization of our colleges. And so I've gotten a lot of input and had conversations with the deans at their retreat in June, with the Faculty Senate's ad hoc transition committee that's been incredibly helpful, others that I've talked to, and from that I've made the decision that at this time that we are not going to move forward with that reorganization. Okay? And I know there are some applause, and I know some people are happy about that, and some people thought, no, that what the plan was, it was a good direction to go, and I recognize both. But I think that as I asked again a lot of questions, I was struggling to get at what are we trying to accomplish. I could see some references to things, but I was hearing different things in different places, and I think if we're going to do something that serious and that impactful, we need to have a shared understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. What are the goals, okay? And if we get those and we want to revisit that, we may do that at some point. But we're going to work on our strategic plan and our master plan. We're going to work on those things because that'll tell us what we need to do. That'll drive our conversations. There are our goals. There's our purpose. And that'll help us through any conversations like that. I also know that you've been looking at, because we all have, I was doing this at College of Coastal Georgia. When you were doing that here at Georgia Southwestern, we were looking at all of our academic programs. New day in the university system, new process called Aspire, where we're looking at our programs, what we have. There's also a component of it that was discussed this morning in the faculty meeting about program review. There's also a component about new programs you want to bring on and things like that. So it's multifaceted, but one part of it is looking at programs that enrollments may be lower. We're not graduating as many students in those programs, and there are some guidelines that are USG, across the USG, for all of us. And we need to look at all of our programs, whatever the numbers are, and say, what's right for us? What's right for our students? You know, I'm a musician. I come from a background where there might not have been as many majors in those degree programs, but they were valuable, and they were making a difference, and they needed to be there. And they were important to the core of our institution. So that's one example. But those are the things that we'll talk about. So we're not moving. I understand that in that discussion there were a few things that were already in motion that the institution chose to act on because those things were just part of kind of some normal program decisions. But other than that, we're not ready to do widespread program deactivations or anything like that. So we're not going to be moving forward with any of those things, but we'll definitely continue to talk and say, what do we need? How do we help programs, and what kind of resources do we need? And what are the right sizes for some of our programs? So those are just conversations that we'll probably always have. So to support communication, okay. I know, and I do know, back just to finish on that topic, I know that there's a lot of angst and there can just be a lot of ambiguity, concern over those kinds of things. And so as we talk about them going forward, we want to make sure it's real open and that we're talking about it together and that you have regular updates on important decisions and discussions like that. So we'll do that. And to support communication and transparency, I wanted to let you know of another kind of quick adjustment that I made over the summer, and that was to reconfigure the President's Cabinet. So the President's Cabinet, prior to me coming on board, was composed of the vice presidents, the division heads of the institution, but I have added to the cabinet the president of the Faculty Senate and the president of the Staff Senate are now members of the President's Cabinet. And we meet monthly, and we'll meet more often as we need to and things come up. We're taking minutes from those meetings, and that cabinet is a really, really important communication tool for all of us. That's not a secret meeting that we go behind closed doors, and you don't need to know what we're talking about, because we're talking about institutional priorities, okay? So you will absolutely have an access to those minutes, and also the members of the cabinet know that they have a responsibility to go back to areas and departments and discuss what we're talking about in cabinet. Does that make sense? All good? Okay, wonderful. So today's accomplishments were yesterday's impossibilities. I asked the division heads to share with me celebrations, accomplishments, because I think one of the best parts of a State of the University address is to talk about things we've accomplished. Now you can imagine that the lists of things I got, let me back up. I asked for like 4 or 5 items. Do you think they did that? They did not. Their lists of items were long, they were detailed, they were impressive. And because I want to make sure that we use this hour today to have some introductions, to talk about the QEP, and to prepare for that 11 o'clock session, I'm not going to go into all the details, because what I think we have a really good opportunity to, after this, let us get into next week, but we're going to compile that information, because we would be here until midnight. But I know it's important, and I want to celebrate it, and I'd love to go through every one of them today. But I also think it would be wonderful for us to have it in a way that you can look at it, review it, have it, celebrate it, okay? So we're going to do that. We'll get that out to you, but give us until next week or so, okay? Just with everything else that is going on. So with that, I would like to go ahead and introduce Dr. Paul Dahlgren. He's going to come up and share an overview and an update about the QEP, and this is going to get us really excited for our 11 o'clock session. I've got about 5 minutes of kind of closing remarks when he finishes. I want to tell you about what's in your seats, talk a little bit about why that's there, okay? So I'll do that to close, but I'm really excited about what I think are the best days ahead for Georgia Southwestern, and part of having those best days and achieving that is this quality enhancement plan. So, Dr. Dahlgren? Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but can we give President Johnson another round of applause? There was some tremendous news packed in that small bit of time, and so thank you so much. And I get to say this, I guess, once a year. Welcome back to Hale. Year 1. I think this is my clicker. Do I have a clicker? I don't see my clicker. All right. Next slide. All right. So I think by now most of you know what this QEP is about, because I've been in y'all's faces all the time. We are a high impact approach to integrative learning. This is about getting our students and ourselves to make connections between different classes, between the classes and students' lives, and between classes, community, and everything else, integrative learning. And I think very, very strongly, and I hope you guys feel this way as well, we are drawing on our core strengths as a university, and I'm looking at those right now. And you're going to hear me say this a few times. I've had the honor of running this thing, but you are the ones who are doing all of the running. And it's humbling and beautiful to see that happen. Today I'm going to mostly talk about what we've accomplished last year, what our assessment results are telling us, and the big message here is, you're awesome. Thank you. We measure our progress through 3 goals and 3 student learning outcomes. And I'm going to go through these, where we are in each of our goals, and then we'll go through our student learning outcomes. I know, shocking. And we'll start with faculty development. Next slide. Where are we now? So we started with a pretty aggressive series of faculty developments. We started with book clubs, we've had summer workshops, just keep going. All kinds of stuff coming together to help you all understand integrative learning, to integrate whatever you want to do in your classes at whatever level you think is appropriate. Keep it going, guys. There's a lot going on here. When last I spoke about this one, it was last spring, and we had blown through what were initially our goals for faculty development. And I want to tell you that we made these goals by consulting other QEPs, by looking at the percentages of that other universities expected and accomplished on a year-to-year basis. And holy cow, guys, I think last time I was here, we were into year 3. However, since then, we had a summer workshop where a lot of new faculty got involved. And now we are at our goal for year 5, or we're one person short of our goal for year 5. So thank you. Thank you for being involved in this at every level. It's been incredible. Let's keep going through the slides, guys. We've got a few more pieces to this one. So when you make your goals and you're in academic year 29 before you've officially begun, that means you raise your goals, right? We're going to go for that excellence. And I'm going to challenge you all to do that. And I'm going to talk a little bit at the end of the presentation about some of the ways we see that happening. But one of the things I'm hoping you guys will do in these sessions today and this afternoon is give me some ideas. What can we do to push you along further? What can we do to make this impactful for you? I'm going to back up just a moment and really say, like, this. I think all of you know this QEP was approved last year by SACS. They gave us a report. The report was like, great, no problems. And then they gave us 5 pages, single-spaced, of things they thought we could also do. And the message there was always, this is a great start, do more. This is a QEP that began initially for general education, and that's still our focus, but SACS told us, we think you should do this at the program level. We don't think you should stop with undergraduates. Go with graduate students as well. Get anyone and everyone involved, and that is what I'm here for, and that is what you guys have told us as well. Most of you have been, come up and been disappointed, like, oh, I wish my graduate class could do something. Well, now you can. So this is the message. We are going to keep raising the bar. Our next goal is all about the opportunity to teach collaboratively. When we initially made this goal, we were not going to do any course blocks at all, but the first thing I heard from faculty is, we want to co-teach. We want our classes to be linked. And then I graciously brought this information to David, told him not to kill me, because we were going to be challenging that office. And they rose to the challenge, and you guys rose to the challenge as well. We said we would do an average of 5 Hale blocks a semester. That actually covers quite a significant selection of our students, and that we would do 10 different kinds of courses that had different elements of integrative learning in them as well, and we blew right past that. So if I can have the next slide. This is where we were last year, and this is where we were in the fall. We started with 3 pilot clusters and 2 standalone courses. We then had 1 block, 8 clusters. Blew my mind that so many of you were willing to get involved. That was 23 classes total. For a school this size, for a school that fits into this room right now, that is amazing. And you continue to blow me away every semester. We did 1 block last spring. We have 7 now. I am proud to say those blocks are full. We have students in just about every one of those, or we have them in all courses. I don't think there's room for any more. I was anticipating emailing you guys and saying, like, please consider sending your students to X. I can't take them right now. And I've seen what some of you guys are planning on doing these courses, and again, oh my goodness. It's really, really impressive. So we've got 14 classes, we've got at least 8 standalone classes, and 3 clusters. If for some reason you think your course today or over the next few weeks might fit as a standalone class, I can still add you to the system. I can still count you. I can still give you credit. Just let me know, and we will happily do so. So again, you guys stepped up, and you stepped up in a big way. Now, we've been a little creative with some of our blocks. We've been a little creative with some of our schedules, and we're going to have to maybe peel back a little in the spring because we're going to have a little less control over enrollment, but we're going to do our best. And I know you guys are going to impress me again. So let's keep going. Co-curricular integration. One of the things this QEP is doing by design is helping students develop a greater sense of social belonging. We are measuring that in a couple of different ways. We've got some surveys that will be in classes. But one of the sort of most concrete ways we are measuring that is just by student involvement in activities that we think are related to HAIL. And so we've got a couple of events specifically identified. We know that students do a ton of things that are not event related, and this is one of the things Sachs did tell us, is you need to go beyond events. You need to go to where the students are learning, and that includes things like student government, student organizations, sports, and I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of parts of the university that I haven't had much interaction with before this semester, but I am excited to do so and to help you become part of HAIL, to welcome you to HAIL. And so these are our figures. We don't have numbers yet specifically, but we have targets. You can go to the next slide, that have been established over the course of the semester. We are also in the process of developing a couple of different co-curricular transcripts. Some of you may be aware of merit pages. I plan on talking with a bunch of you about that this semester and this year, about encouraging you on a programmatic level to incorporate these into your teaching. There are all kinds of other ways you can do this as well. I think Dr. Fluka will be talking about shortly about how student affairs in general, how co-curricular stuff in general can help transform a campus when we are interested in things like integrative learning. So, thank you. Next slide. These are some of our attendance numbers from last year. We're going to be pushing some of these up. You can see some of them, some of our big events. I'm not going to dwell on this one, so let's go to the next slide. These are the events we've targeted for this year. You can see what they are. Under the Lights, Convocation, Pancakes with the President, Be the Change Week, Teddy Bear Toss, Taste of the World. These are all events you're familiar with. These are all pretty darn well-attended events, but we want them to be even more well-attended, and we want students to not just attend these events, but reflect on what they're gaining from them. You know, this is a university. Learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, it happens everywhere. We learn all the time about all kinds of things, and we want our students to be aware that this is part of the expectation, that they are learning at any and every kind of event. So, that is what we will be doing. Next slide, please. Learning outcomes. I know, so much fun. We have 3 basic learning outcomes for the QEP. Recognizing connections, which is recognizing connections between the course material and whatever else we think is appropriate. You know, that can be between 2 or more different courses, that can be between a course and the student's career. That can be, the course in the community, whatever, okay? Second one is on structured reflection. How well and how much are students learning to reflect? How well are they learning to demonstrate their learning? And how much are they learning through the process of reflection? If you want an easy way to be part of the QEP, easy peasy, do something. Doesn't matter to me what. I ask you to do something creative and fun because I think that's what you all want to do. And after you do it, have students do a 5-minute reflection. Ask them what they've learned. We can assess that. We can capture that learning, and we can demonstrate over time that that's adding value to the degree. So please, if that's something that interests you, it can be as small as that. Now, in a few weeks, and I don't mean to get ahead of my own slides, I'm going to show you some of the amazing things faculty have been doing. I'm going to show you how marketing and English have collaborated. I'm going to show you how political science and English have collaborated. And I am so proud of all of this stuff. But we're going to wait on that because I know we've got other things. All right. The last SLO, I want to make sure I'm pointing to this specifically. This synthesis and transfer, these are high-level skills, okay? This is top of the pyramid kind of stuff. When we wrote the QEP, our assumption was that we would see this primarily in the most advanced courses. And so we were a little wishy-washy with our goals here, just to be honest with you. We were wrong. We are seeing transfer and synthesis, that is, students taking an idea that they're learning in one class, applying it in another class, applying it in their career, not just seeing the connections, but actually thinking about method, thinking about what they can and can't doing, invoking that incredible metacognitive stuff. We're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it in first-year classes, we're seeing it in second-year classes, we're seeing it in every course we have. So I'm really, really excited to see that. I think this is a strength we can continue to build on. Next slide. We did a lot of assessment last year. I can't remember how many of us there were total, but I think there was a good team of 10 plus folks. We collected 174 artifacts from 11 standalone classes, 9 clusters, and 1 section of blocks. All of these courses were pilots, and our data, our amalgamated data, I'm going to just real quickly give you the bottom line in the next slide. Next slide. It's right here. Let's go one slide further because I know no one wants to see a bar graph. Percentages are easier to read. We set the goal for the end of this year to be about 75% on each category, and we're already very, very close. And we're close in our pilots. Everyone except for, I think, SLO 3, which I think it might have been like 10 or 15%, is way too low. But we're seeing students make connections. We're seeing students reflect very, very effectively. We're seeing students transfer and synthesize ideas on a level that I did not think we were going to see, okay? Perhaps my standards are too low. Perhaps we need to strive for more excellence, but I don't think that's the case. I think, every time I throw something y'all's way, you come back and you do better, because that's what we do at GSW. So thank you. I'm almost done. Next slide. All right, so what are our preliminary observations from this year? These are all very basic things, and I want to remind you guys, a QEP is always a work in progress. We're going to keep changing, we're going to keep adjusting so that we develop the program that fits us as best we can. And goal 1, I already told you guys, you're awesome. You're amazing. You guys stepped up in this in a way that I could not imagine, and you stepped up in parts of the university where I foolishly did not expect it. I want to thank the School of Nursing once again. You guys have been amazing. I want to thank the School of Arts and Sciences. You guys have done the lion's work in your classes, and it's been amazing to see. And, you know, again, you continue to blow everyone's expectations out of the water. We've also learned some other things. We need to continue to refine our process of doing reflections. Reflections aren't exactly new at GSW, but the more we can kind of get ourselves on the same page about what these should look like and what the value of them really is, the better data we're going to get, long and the short of it. And the more payoff we're going to have for our students, because that's going to mean that they're going to reflect more effectively, and that they're going to, you know, be able to push themselves in that genuine and exciting manner. So, great. The other thing, when we were going through all of these artifacts, we saw such a great variety, and we saw so much going on that we realized whatever assessment process we put in the first place was not going to be adequate. In part because these projects were varied. We got things from biology, we got things from nursing, we got things from music, from arts and sciences, from all across the university. And no one is qualified to know what belongs in what discipline and what belongs in another. So capturing the complexity of student achievement is going to be one of our big goals this year, and one of the things we are going to be working on as we work to refine our assessment system, and I look forward to getting y'all's feedback on that. And the final thing we learned is it's really not hard to see a small impact like in student development. A little bit of reflection goes a long way. All right, one more slide, I think. On the horizon, more exciting events, not about assessment. We are going to be talking about the DEAL framework shortly. Dr. Faluka is going to be introducing that to you in her presentation. And we're going to do some training. We're going to do at least one workshop, maybe several. A couple weeks from now, I've got some of the most exciting things I've seen happen. We're going to get as many of you together, and we're going to show off what folks have done in hopes of sort of igniting some creativity from more of you. We're going to have the QEP All-Star, as I'd like to call them. We're going to work on having some faculty development events on transfer and synthesis, just so we make sure we understand these particular goals. Like I said, when we originally made the QEP, we were focused on general education. Making connections is kind of the lower end of things, and so I think you guys have gotten that. Synthesis and transfer is a big lift, but clearly you can do it. Clearly our students can do it. So we're going to make sure everyone is on the same page and is able to do that as effectively as possible. We're going to have additional book clubs on integrative learning and on the scholarship of teaching and learning related to integrative learning. If you want to publish on this subject, I am here to help you make that happen. And we're going to be working on a faculty badge system. And I know this probably sounds like a silly thing. I got 34 people of you in this room right now got some kind of training last year. The average amount of events that you took part in was 2.1, I think was it. So acknowledging how much you're doing and the different kinds of things that you're doing has got to be part of this equation as well. And acknowledging the different ways our students are doing integrative learning as well is going to be part of the process. And I hope to talk to you about that in a few weeks. And I hope I didn't go over time. Maybe I did a little. That's all I've got. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we are coming to the close of this session. I wanted to share with you, I know many of you are sitting in seats that have a Georgia Southwestern diploma cover. If you aren't sitting on a seat that has one, I'm going to ask you before you leave to take one. If you don't get one today, we'll send out an email so you can know where you can get that. We've got a few more that are going to be coming in. But let me tell you why it's there. When I talk to new students, prospective students, their families, I make a few promises to them, and I figured that we all need to be in on that because you're going to have to help in living out those promises, okay? So one thing I promise is that students are going to be challenged here. So we talked about excellence and rigor, and so did Dr. Dahlgren, and we talked about the bar being high, right? So number one, challenge them. We all have to do that, inside and outside of the classroom, in any interaction. If students are working in our offices, challenge them. Number two is to support them. They're going to be challenged and they're going to be supported, and that's all of us to do that as well. All of our responsibilities to support them. And the third one is that they will be engaged. We will engage them, and that also is all of our responsibilities, to make sure that students are actively engaged in learning outside the classroom, all of those things. So those are the three promises. Are we good with those? Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do, because every day as we're doing those things and we're encouraging students, we are challenging them, supporting them, engaging them, they're going to have good days and bad days. We know that. What I want us all to do is to display a diploma cover. Now, I know we didn't all get a degree from Georgia Southwestern. Some of us will actually have a diploma in there or framed. But whether or not we graduated from Georgia Southwestern, we're going to display this in a prominent place in your office or your workspace, on your desk, on a shelf, somewhere prominent in your office or workspace. Every one of us. Because we want to show students when they come to visit us or others come into our offices that they know this is what we're working for every single day. To make sure those students are pursuing their goals and they're achieving their goals. So I'm going to ask you to do that. They're here. There are a lot of them in seats that there aren't any bodies in those seats. So you can grab those today before you leave. And if you don't get one, we're going to let you know how to get one. But please, let's take all the ones that we have here today. And thank you for displaying those in a really important and prominent place in your office.